Our global economic system is cracking under the weight of its own design. The World Inequality Lab released the Global Justice Report, a heavily researched plan to tax billionaires, limit global warming, and replace our obsession with endless economic growth with a model that ensures humans actually have enough to live. When the report landed in New Zealand, the mainstream media immediately framed these ideas as entirely backwards. They published this headline, characterizing the survival of the planet as a complete inversion of economic common sense. Former Reserve Bank Chairman Arthur Grimes went on the record to dismiss the entire project. He called the report Dreamland and stated he initially thought it was a spoof, wondering who would even put such a thing out. Grimes defended his dismissal by arguing that if New Zealand prioritized wealth redistribution, our productive people would simply pack up and move to Australia to earn more money. This threat of capital flight acts as a psychological anchor deployed to stall the conversation and keep wealth exactly where it is. The concepts inside the Global Justice Report are foundational Māori economic principles. Sufficiency, collective care, and guardianship of the environment long predate Western financial models. Māori were living this answer centuries before economists modeled it. By labeling the report a spoof, establishment figures bypass the historical reality of Indigenous economic success. This framing protects a status quo that has spent 40 years dismantling the very systems the report now suggests we build. 1 in 4 Tamariki Māori currently live in material poverty. To understand the gap between that reality and the vast wealth held at the top, we have to look directly at the economic mechanics holding the specific cage together. The first lie is the myth of scarcity. We are consistently told there is simply no money available for massive social reform or Indigenous-led housing initiatives. But the math in the 2026 budget tells a different story. The government managed to find and allocate $2.6 billion specifically for MH-60R Seahawk combat helicopters. This chart compares that military spending with social austerity. At the exact same time they funded those helicopters, the government scrapped $624 million from Māori housing programs and cut millions more from Hawara Māori, essential Indigenous health services. Resource scarcity is a myth. The budget is an active choice, prioritizing machines of war over tikanga, the obligation to guard and care for the most vulnerable people in our communities. The second lie centers on taxation. When progressive wealth taxes are proposed, right-wing lobby groups immediately declare them economic vandalism, claiming they will disproportionately hurt job creators and destroy Māori assets. This data visualization shows $102.1 billion concentrated in the hands of just 119 families. Proposed wealth taxes only apply to net assets exceeding $10 million, and Stats NZ data confirms there are exactly 0 Māori individuals on the rich list. Western economics rewards limitless hoarding. By contrast, the Māori concept of utu requires the restoration of balance when the scales of a community have been tipped so drastically. Lobby groups are actively weaponizing Māori economic aspirations, using them as a human shield to protect the tax avoidance of the wealthiest 119 families in the country. The third lie is the ritual invocation of GDP. Politicians across the spectrum treat gross domestic product as the supreme, unshakable measure of national prosperity. This logic map breaks down how the metric works. GDP counts the construction of a prison or the cleanup of an oil spill as economic growth, while assigning 0 value to a grandmother teaching te reo or a kaumatua healing a family with traditional rongoa. We already had a functional alternative. The 2019 Wellbeing Budget, grounded in the Māori framework of Aotearoa, explicitly replaced GDP as the primary measure of success and focused on actual human health and life expectancy. But the current government dismantled that framework, killed the Wellbeing Budget, and forced a return to GDP worship. GDP renders the profound human and environmental costs of colonization completely invisible, while focusing its lens entirely on extracted profits. Top Western economists have spent years building the equations that confirm a destination Māori have occupied for centuries. The policies proposed by Te Pāti Māori and the Greens represent arithmetic and whākaupapa working in tandem. The
The path forward involves halting the active destruction of the indigenous systems already in place. When politicians call these ideas dreamland, recognize it as a move to protect the status quo. True national success is measured by the Māori, the living life force of the people, not the protected wealth of 119 families.